Have you ever wondered why some people suddenly lose respect for you, even when it feels like you've done nothing wrong? Get ready, because in this video, we'll dive into the 9 attitudes and behaviors that may be quietly undermining your image without you even realizing it. From the subtle impact of punctuality to the immense power of keeping your word, we'll explore how these habits shape the way others perceive you. And by the end of the video, I'll share a key insight that could forever change how you're viewed by those around you. But before we begin, if you find value in the wisdom shared here, please consider subscribing to Stoic Rise Up and clicking the bell icon so you never miss out on future content. Your support helps the channel grow, and I truly appreciate it. Now, pay close attention to this story. It holds a lesson that's critical to understanding the deeper message of today's video. In ancient Greece, there was a philosopher named Diogenes, famous for his unconventional life and his bold attitude. He lived in a barrel, yes, you heard that right, and cared little for society's norms. One day, Alexander the Great, intrigued by his reputation, sought him out. When Alexander, the most powerful man in the world, asked Diogenes if he needed anything, the philosopher simply replied, "Yes, to move aside. You're blocking my sunlight." While Diogenes' audacity has earned him a place in history, his attitude is not exactly a model for maintaining respect. In fact, his arrogance is the perfect example of the first attitude that can make people lose respect for you: overbearing pride. Have you ever come across someone who seems to think the world revolves around them? Welcome to the fascinating universe of arrogance. The first attitude on our list of how to lose the respect of others faster than an ice cream melt in summer is overweening arrogance. Arrogance is like that friend who always has to tell a better story than you. But why is arrogance so repellent? Imagine you're at a party and someone walks in shouting, "The life of the party has arrived." I bet all eyes would do an Olympic spin in their sockets. Arrogance is exactly that, but in everyday life. Now let's not confuse confidence with arrogance. Confidence is like a good perfume. It attracts people. Arrogance, on the other hand, is like bathing in that perfume. It drives everyone away within a 10-kilometer radius. A study conducted by the University of Akron and the University of Michigan revealed something interesting. Arrogance not only ruins your personal relationships, but it can also hurt your performance at work. It turns out that arrogant people tend to overestimate their abilities and underestimate those of others. It's like believing you can win a marathon without training because you once ran to catch the bus. This overestimation leads to errors in judgment and poor decisions. Imagine an arrogant chef who believes he doesn't need to taste his food before serving it. The result: dishes that taste like cardboard with ego sauce. But how do you recognize if you're falling into the arrogance trap? Here are some signs. 1. If you think you are always right, even when Google tells you otherwise. 2. If you constantly interrupt others because obviously what you have to say is more important. 3. If you think the rules are for others, but not for you because you are too special. 4. If you think that saying thank you or apologizing is for wimps. If you identify with any of these, don't worry. The good news is that arrogance has a cure, and it's called humility. Humility does not mean putting yourself down. It is simply recognizing that, like everyone else, you have strengths and weaknesses. It is understanding that there's always something to learn from others, even from that coworker who seems like he was born yesterday. Practicing humility is like exercising your personality. It may be uncomfortable at first, but over time, it will make you stronger and more attractive, in a good way, of course. So the next time you're tempted to brag or belittle the opinions of others, remember, true greatness doesn't need to announce itself loudly. As C.S. Lewis once said, humility is not thinking less of yourself, it is thinking of yourself less. In short, if you want to earn the respect of others, let your actions speak for you. Be like that friend who is always willing to listen, learn, and help. That is the true recipe for success in personal and professional relationships. Let's move on to the second attitude on our list: chronic negativity. Imagine negativity as gum stuck to the bottom of your shoe. At first, it's just a minor annoyance, but the more you walk with it, the more it spreads and the harder it is to remove. This is exactly how chronic negativity works in our lives. Did you know that constant negativity can affect your health as much as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day? Yes, you heard that right. A study from Stanford University revealed that dwelling on negative thoughts can increase levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, which, over time, leads to issues like heart disease, obesity, and depression. It's as if your mind becomes a DJ stuck on a sad song loop. But don't worry, all is not lost. Changing this attitude is not only possible, it's easier than you think. Famed psychologist Martin Seligman, known as the father of positive psychology, developed a technique called the ABCs to combat chronic negativity. A is for adversity. Identify the situation that's bothering you. B is for beliefs. Recognize the automatic negative thoughts that arise. C is for consequences. Observe how these thoughts impact your mood and behavior. Once you've identified these elements, you can begin to challenge and rewrite those negative thoughts, like editing a scene in the movie of your mind. If you don't like the scene, cut it and write a new one. Another effective technique is the 21-day no complaining challenge, proposed by Will Bowen. The idea is simple. Wear a bracelet and switch it to the other wrist every time you complain. The goal is to keep the bracelet on the same wrist for 21 consecutive days. Sounds easy, right? Well, on average, it takes people 8 months to achieve this. We're all bigger complainers than we think. Why 21 days? Studies by Dr. Betha Maxwell Maltz suggest it takes roughly 21 days to form a new habit, though more recent research shows it can take anywhere from 18 to 254 days, depending on the person and the habit. So if after 21 days you still find yourself complaining about your neighbor mowing the lawn too early on Sunday mornings, don't be discouraged. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is a positive mindset. Let's be clear, though, positivity doesn't mean ignoring real problems or pretending everything is perfect. It's about approaching life's challenges with a constructive attitude. Think of yourself as an optimistic detective. You acknowledge the problem, but instead of complaining, you focus on finding a solution. As the entrepreneur Richard Branson once said, "Don't complain, make things happen." And it seems to have worked for him. The man has his own island and is planning trips to space, while many of us still get irritated when our pizza delivery takes longer than 30 minutes. Remember, chronic negativity acts like a repellent. It drives people away. No one wants to be around someone who constantly sees the glass as half empty, especially if that glass is holding a delicious smoothie. So the next time you feel a complaint about to slip from your lips, pause. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, is this really that bad? Can I look at this differently? At the end of the day, life is too short to waste on complaints. And who knows, by changing your attitude, not only might you gain the respect of others, but you might also discover you're happier than you ever imagined. As the Greek philosopher Epictetus said, it is not things that disturb us, but our opinions about them. Now, my friends, we arrive at the third attitude on our list. Lack of empathy, or as I like to call it, the superpower that makes people want to run in the opposite direction. Imagine for a moment that you're having the worst day of your life. Your boss yelled at you, your car broke down, and to top it all off, you're out of coffee. You come home seeking comfort, and your partner simply says, "Bad things happen to everyone. Get over it." How would you feel? Probably like packing your partner's bags and leaving them on the curb, right? Empathy is like the oil in the engine of human relationships. Without it, everything starts to grind and eventually breaks down. But why is empathy so crucial? A fascinating study from the University of Cambridge revealed that empathy isn't just a nice-to-have social skill. It's critical to our survival as a species. Our ancestors who were more empathetic had a higher chance of survival and reproduction. Why? Because empathy fosters bonds, teamwork, and mutual care. But here's the good news. Even if you sometimes find it hard to step into someone else's shoes, empathy is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets. So the next time someone opens up to you about their struggles, resist the urge to jump in with solutions or downplay their feelings. Instead, try listening and simply saying, "That sounds tough. How do you feel?" You'll be amazed at how powerful such a small act of understanding can be. As the great Maya Angelou once said, I've learned that people will forget what you said, they will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Let's now arrive at the fourth stop on our tour of attitudes that can make you as popular as a porcupine at a balloon party. Fickleness. Have you ever met someone who changes plans faster than a chameleon changes colors? One day, they're your best friend, and the next, they won't even respond to your messages. They promise to help with a project, only to forget entirely. This, my friends, is fickleness in its natural habitat. It's like trying to build a house of cards in a hurricane. No matter how carefully you try, it all comes crashing down at the most inconvenient moment. But why is fickleness so damaging to our relationships? The answer is simple. Human beings are creatures of habit. We crave predictability and stability, traits that have been ingrained in our DNA since the days when knowing where to find food and shelter was a matter of survival. A study from the University of California revealed that consistency in interpersonal relationships is one of the most crucial factors in building trust. And without trust, well, we're likely to end up alone, surrounded by cats. Not that there's anything wrong with cats, but you get my point. So if you find yourself frequently changing your mind, canceling plans, or failing to keep your commitments, it's time to make a change. As the great Bruce Lee once said, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." In other words, consistency is key. Start small. If you say you're going to call, then call. If you promise to be somewhere, be there. Little by little, you'll build a reputation as someone reliable and trustworthy. And believe me, that's worth more than all the gold in the world. Before moving on to the next attitude, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you enjoy content like this as much as I do, leave a comment saying personal improvement. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Attitude number 5, lack of integrity. Imagine for a moment that you're in a restaurant. The waiter brings you a dish that looks exquisite, perfect presentation, mouth-watering aroma, but the moment you take a bite, it tastes like cardboard. That, my friends, is what happens when someone lacks integrity. On the surface, everything might appear flawless, but inside it leaves much to be desired. Integrity is like wearing underwear. Everyone should have it, but it's not something you need to go around bragging about. It's that invisible quality that guides us to act rightly, even when no one is watching. But why is integrity so vital? Beyond preventing you from becoming the villain in your own life story, integrity is the foundation for building strong, lasting relationships. A fascinating study from Harvard University found that companies with a strong culture of integrity not only had happier employees, but were also more profitable in the long run. Coincidence? I don't think so. Lack of integrity is like a slow-acting poison. At first, you might not notice its effects, but over time, it destroys everything in its path. Lying, cheating, and speaking ill of others behind their backs. These are all manifestations of a lack of integrity, and sooner or later, they will take their toll. As Mahatma Gandhi wisely said, happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. And let me tell you, there's nothing more attractive than someone who lives by their values. So the next time you're faced with a situation where taking the easy way out might compromise your integrity, remember, respect for others, and most importantly, respect for yourself, is worth far more than any short-term gain. Now we arrive at the 6th station on our attitude train, lack of responsibility. Have you ever met someone who always has an excuse? You know, that friend who's always late and blames it on traffic, even though they live 2 blocks away? Or the coworker who never finishes their assignments on time because, apparently, the universe is conspiring against them? Well, my friends, that's lack of responsibility in all its glory. Responsibility is like gravity. Whether you believe in it or not, it still exists and affects everything you do. And like gravity, ignoring it can lead to some pretty painful consequences. But why is taking responsibility so important? Beyond keeping you from becoming the laughingstock of your social circle, responsibility is critical for earning the respect of others, and most importantly, respect for yourself. A study from Stanford University revealed that people who take responsibility for their actions tend to be more successful in their careers and feel more satisfied with their lives overall. Surprising? Not really. When you take responsibility, you take control of your life. Lack of responsibility is like playing the blame game all the time. And trust me, that's a game no one wins. Blaming others, circumstances, or fate for your problems may seem like the easy route in the moment, but over time, it leaves you feeling powerless and frustrated. As the great writer George Bernard Shaw once said, "People are always blaming their circumstances for what they are. I don't believe in circumstances. The people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, they create them." So, the next time you're tempted to make excuses or blame others for your problems, remember, taking responsibility may feel uncomfortable at first, but it's the first step toward personal growth and earning the respect of others. And who knows, you might discover that being responsible is like having a superpower that allows you to control your life and your destiny. Doesn't that sound better than being the eternal victim of circumstances? Now, let's move on to the seventh attitude. Disrespect for other people's time. Have you ever felt like your time was treated as less valuable than someone else's? Well, my friends, today we're going to discuss an attitude that makes people lose respect faster than you can check the time on your watch. Disrespecting other people's time, or as I like to call it, the art of making others want to strangle you with your own watch. Picture this, you're waiting for a friend for dinner. 15 minutes pass, 30 minutes, an hour, and still nothing. Finally, they show up with a casual smile and a "sorry I'm late." If you feel like hurling the menu at their head in that moment, I wouldn't blame you. Disrespecting other people's time is like being a silent thief, stealing something precious that can never be returned. Here's a confession. I struggle with this issue myself. Yes, folks, ironic as it may be, I'm guilty of it too. And let me tell you, getting organized can feel as difficult as trying to comb a cat's hair with a fork. But we're not alone in this battle. The famous entrepreneur Richard Branson once said, "Respect is earned through excellence, consistency, and respect for other people's time." And he was absolutely right. When you're late, you're not just wasting someone's time. You're sending a clear message. My time is more valuable than yours. And trust me, no one wants to be friends with someone who thinks like that. So, how do we start respecting other people's time? Here are some strategies I'm personally trying to implement. And yes, I fail at times, but it's the effort that counts, right? The 10-minute rule. Plan to arrive 10 minutes early. If you're early, great, you have time to relax. If you hit traffic or something unexpected comes up, you'll still be on time. Be realistic about your time. If it takes 30 minutes to get ready, don't fool yourself into thinking you can do it in 15, unless you have superpowers, of course. Learn to say no. Don't commit to more than you can handle. It's better to say no than to be late or fail to deliver. Use alarms. Set alarms for everything. Yes, everything. Your phone can be your best friend in this mission. Prepare the night before. Get everything ready, clothes, keys, documents, so in the morning, your only worry is not oversleeping. A Harvard University study revealed that punctual people are perceived as more reliable and competent. So if you want to earn the respect of others, start by respecting their time. Changing this habit isn't easy. I still find myself scrambling like a headless chicken sometimes. But every time I manage to be on time, it feels like I've won a small victory. So the next time you're about to run late, ask yourself, do you want to be the person everyone is waiting for with a smile? Or the person everyone is looking at with a sense of frustration? The choice is yours. Attitude number 8 on our list is the inability to listen. And believe me, it's a more common habit than you might think. But why is listening so important? Let me share a story that perfectly illustrates this point. In his famous book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie tells a fascinating anecdote. One evening, Carnegie attended a dinner party and spent his time talking to a botanist, a subject he knew very little about. However, Carnegie spent the entire evening asking thoughtful questions about botany, genuinely interested in learning. At the end of the night, the botanist told Carnegie that he was one of the most interesting people he had ever spoken to. The irony? Carnegie barely said a word. All he did was listen carefully and ask questions. This story teaches us a valuable lesson. The art of listening not only makes us more interesting, but also helps us build deeper and more meaningful relationships. It shows that by focusing on the other person, we earn their respect and trust. Now, you might be wondering, how can I improve my listening skills? Here are a few practical tips. 1. Practice active listening. Don't just hear the words, try to understand the message behind them. Imagine you're a detective solving the mystery of what the other person truly means. 2. Stop thinking about your response. I know it's tempting to think about what you'll say next, but resisting this impulse helps you focus on the speaker's words. 3. Ask relevant questions. This shows that you're paying attention and that you're genuinely interested in what the other person is sharing. It's like playing conversational ping pong, keeping the dialogue engaging for both of you. 4. Avoid interrupting. Every time you interrupt, you're essentially saying, what I have to say is more important than what you're saying. So hold off on sharing that brilliant idea until it's your turn. 5. Show empathy. Try to put yourself in the other person's shoes. How do they feel? What motivates them to say what they're saying? Now I challenge you, during your next conversation, try applying these tips. You'll be surprised how much the dynamic changes when you truly focus on listening. Becoming a good listener not only earns you respect, but it also opens doors to new friendships, opportunities, and wisdom. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely said, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. So the next time you're in a conversation, think of Carnegie's botanist. Will you be the one talking endlessly about your accomplishments, or will you be the one listening with genuine interest, making the other person feel valued and understood? And now we arrive at the 9th and final attitude, the lack of authenticity, or as I like to call it, the social chameleon syndrome. Do you know someone who changes their personality faster than they change their clothes? Inauthenticity is like wearing a mask 24 hours a day. You might fool some people for a while, but eventually the mask slips, and when it does, no one knows who you really are. The Greek philosopher Heraclitus once said, "Character is destiny." And how right he was. Your character, your true self, is what shapes the course of your life. When you try to be someone you're not only deceiving others, you're deceiving yourself. A fascinating study conducted by Cambridge University revealed that people who are authentic in their relationships report higher levels of satisfaction and well-being. Coincidence? I don't think so. Authenticity doesn't mean you have to share every thought that crosses your mind. Please don't. It means staying true to your values, your beliefs, and your core essence. As Oscar Wilde once said, "Be yourself, everyone else is already taken." Remember, respect from others isn't something you can demand, it's something you earn, and it's earned through small, consistent actions, by the way we treat others, and more importantly, by the way we treat ourselves. Authenticity is the foundation of self-respect and respect from others. So go out into the world and be authentic. Listen to others. Stand firm in your beliefs and embrace who you truly are. You may find that the respect of others isn't just a nice bonus. It could be the start of deeper, more meaningful connections. And if all else fails, you can always get a cat. They'll respect you, or at least pretend to, as long as you keep feeding them. And there you have it, my friends. 9 attitudes that can quickly erode the respect of those around you. But here's the good news. Each of these behaviors can be changed with a bit of awareness and effort. Remember, true respect isn't something you can demand or expect overnight. It's built through small, consistent actions, and it starts from within, by being authentic, taking responsibility, and showing empathy toward others. By making these subtle changes in your attitude, you'll not only earn the respect of those around you, but you'll also find a deeper sense of fulfillment and connection in your own life. If you've made it this far, I want to congratulate you on taking a step towards becoming the best version of yourself. And before you go, don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful, and hit the subscribe button with the bell icon so you never miss future content from Stoic Rise Up. Now I have a small challenge for you. In the comments, share which of the 9 attitudes you'll work on changing first. Or, if you're not sure what to comment, just type, "Respect starts with me," so I know you've made it to the end. I read all the comments, and I can't wait to see what you'll accomplish on your journey to self-improvement. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.